Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever this message may find you. This is your girl, G's Louise, back with another message. I had to get on here real quick because I had another message, honestly, but from a collective of the last couple of days. But I'm going to go with this first and probably do a video later on about the other message that I have had on my mind, because as I go on my walk with God and learn more about what He expects from us and because there's so much information out there. It's like it's oversaturated, and I just want to kind of help simplify some things with what I learned. You know what I'm saying? And it's very challenging to apply what you learn, period. Like even with health or something, like say if you're on a health journey, you're like trying to do right and you know some things that is going to improve your health, but your habits get in the way and you're like, man, how do I apply this and stick to it? So anyway, so I thought this was interesting. I'm going to read it. I don't know how many of you are out there kind of struggling or going through the walk, trying to figure out, which is the right direction. Sometimes it's like you just have those questions in your head, and God He literally answers the question. He might answer it through another person. He might answer it, through something that you read, a song that you hear when you're going, in the grocery store. It's just it happens randomly, and it's like mind blowing, but He does answer you. So anyway, all right. So I thought this was interesting. So it says, "O prophet, struggle, O prophet," meaning God's people or whoever, when you're a prophet or a messenger of God, or you're like you walking with God and you're used as a vessel, because we all are at some point or another. O prophet, you struggle against the disbelievers and the hypocrites, and be firm. No, he says, I'm sorry, he doesn't say you. He says, struggle against the disbelievers and the hypocrites, and be firm with them. Hell will be their home. And hell is a state of mind, in my opinion. And if usually people that are not in alignment with their assignment, which is what God's assignment is for you when you're born, if you're not lined up under there and you have kind of moved away and said, okay, I'm going to go over here and do my own thing, it's like you go in against your intuition. You're like, man, I'm going to do this. You don't notice it, but things just do not be right. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like things are not okay. You might adapt to it not being okay. You might think this is life. You might think that going through stuff all the time and being in a negative state of mind, or a hypocrite state of mind, or not a disbeliever state of mind, you might think that that's normal, but that's a state of mind, and it is a hell on earth. In my opinion, these are just my opinions. So okay, he said hell will be their home, which is their mindset and their lifestyle. What an evil destination. Like, do you want to be a part of where they're headed and where they're at? You know what I'm saying? Before you engage in certain things with certain people, do you want to be a part? Because they're over there creating their own hells. Not saying that they intentionally are like, hey, I'm going to hell and I'm about to go create hell on earth. Like that's not it. But they have lost their way. They're not in alignment anymore. So of course, if you're not in alignment and you're not working within the assignment, the things that you were put here to do. People call it their purpose. Walking in your purpose. It's all this stuff what I'm finding, y'all, between religions and just motivationals and inspirations and all of this stuff is the same thing. You know, when you're having these aha moments or things are clicking for you and you understand it, you have to let people that are creating their own hells stay over there and create their own hells. Like, do you have to completely ignore them and pretend like they're not there? No. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's challenging to apply what you're learning or what you know as you are guided, you know, with when you're walking with God and you're guided and you're like, wait, so, okay. I don't know. It could be just me, but that's like, I'm trying to take what I'm learning and I'm trying to fit it into really everyday life. Like I told my girlfriend, people can always tell you what to do with your kids, but when you go home and you got to deal with them directly, you got to find a way to actually apply what you just learned or something, some good advice that you were given in regards to parenting or something like that. You have to find a way to like apply it. It's not that easy. You know what I'm saying? You can read the Bible and be like, duh, 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 and then you got to be like, all right, so how do I insert this in my life realistically? You know? Anyway, let's get along here because, you know, I'll ramble. So hell is their home. What an evil destination. They swear by God that they never said anything blasphemous. While they did in fact utter blasphemy, lost their faith after accepting Islam, which is any acceptance with God, any life, you know, that you've accepted. And again, I'm not against any religions. I'm just not a religious person. I believe in God, you know, but Islam is just whatever you want it to be. If it's not Islam, if you're not a Muslim, because I don't want you to miss the message, whoever you are, because it's for somebody and it was for me. And I know I'm not the only one. You know what I mean? I know I'm not the only one that needs to hear this. So they lost their faith after accepting Islam and plotted what they could not carry out. That's crazy. How many times we say what we're going to do, and how many people, how I can think back of people in my life that thought that they could carry out something that they just couldn't. They just didn't have it in them. And people want to do these things and they can't because they're not willing to do what it takes to do that. It is only through resentment that they pay God and his messenger back for enriching them out of his bounty. If they repent, it will be better for them. But if they turn away, God will torment them with a painful punishment in this world and the hereafter. And they will have no one on earth to protect them or help them. That's a lonely feeling. When you lost your way and you done got cocky with it. And you think you don't need nobody, you don't need God, you think that. And that mindset is a quick way for you to self-destruct. And it's sad to see people that you care about go through that. And there are some who had made a vow to God. If he gives us from his bounty, we will surely spend it in charity. Like how many people say, oh, when I give God, if you just bless me, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, blah, 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 blah. They be lying. Sometimes, not everybody, but a lot of people are lying. And I don't think they understand what they're accepting or what they're saying. Because it's so funny how you could see, when you see people, they're up and then they're down and all that. It's when you make agreements in the spiritual realm and with God or whatever, I feel like people take it lightly. Like they think this is a game. And I know for sure spiritual warfare is real. I really know this. Like I experienced it. And it's some people don't make it out. I'm going to just be honest with you. But anyway, Let's keep going. If he gives us from his bounty, we will surely spend it in charity and be of the righteous. But when he gave them out of his bounty, they withheld it and turned away indifferently. So he caused hypocrisy. I don't know what in the world. I can't say some stuff sometimes. Okay, so he caused hypocrisy to plague their hearts until the day they will meet him, for breaking their promise to God and for their lies. Do they not know that God fully knows their evil thoughts and secrets and talks? And that God is the knower of all unseen. And it's like when you come to prayer, you can't come up there like, I ain't gonna talk about what I did. Like, he knows everything. You know what I'm saying? And you know when you kind of tripping and you going this way. And you just need to talk and be like, man, I need help. God, I'm asking you to help me because I am knowing better and I'm not doing better. And I need help with strengthening my discipline, like helping me to stay focused on what the plan is, what I know I'm supposed to be doing, what's in alignment with my assignment. Because your assignment is paid in full, but you want to keep going over here. And every time you go over there, you become a hypocrite. And you start being, a part of the naysayers. You start being a part of, the gossiping and the stuff that it's like, it's idle, what he calls it, idle talk. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a bunch of nothing. And it's a bunch of nothingness over there. Some people's life, if you really pay attention to their day-to-day, everyday life and what goes on in their life and how they're moving, you'll see. Is that something that you want to be a part of? And those decisions that you make and staying away from the toxic side of you that wants to indulge in those things. Like, not staying away, but kind of letting, healing that side of you and making sure that it doesn't overpower, what you're trying to do, and stay focused. It's not easy though. There are those who slander some of the believers for donating liberally, and mock others for giving only the little that they can afford. God will throw their mockery back at them, and they will suffer a painful punishment. And again, when people think punishments and hell and fire, they thinking, oh, it's not real. But it's like, you're living in it and you don't even know it. Sometimes you're living in it and you don't even know it. You have adapted to hell. You think it's normal. But if you were to get into the kingdom mindset, right, you would be like, oh, okay, this is what the hell I've been doing, Where have I been living at? So it's like, so I'm looking at it like this, y'all. Like, I always like to use like Jerry Flowers. I love him. He's an awesome. He's a speaker. He's a preacher, but he's a speaker to, either way. He breaks down a lot of his messages and he references Lion King. And I always reference Lion King too because it's the easiest way to understand it. And I do it a lot of times with the men and women dynamic of how we're supposed to be to each other. However, it's just like Simba in this situation. It's like Simba. He's over there living, a mediocre lifestyle, right? And he's adapted to that. He's adapted to eating bugs and having friends that he eats, right? He would normally eat, and he's adapted to not living his life in its full potential. But then when he steps into his king shoes and he's able to stand up to who he really is, his lifestyle is so much more fulfilled. Like his emotional fulfillment is like, and I mean, it's a movie, but I'm just saying, you see the difference. You see how everything just fits and it feels good and it's better and it's love and it's happy and it's, everything brightens up. There's an abundance of everything: food, love, family. It was just, and when you kind of running from that, it's like you adapt to the bullshit life that you have, and you think it's okay. You're like, well, God is good, and it's just like, but God be looking like, this is not what I was talking about. But, we have to recognize that and understand that. So, anyway, sorry guys, let me get back. So anyway, so he throws their mockery back at them, and their punishments are, their lifestyles, things that you don't even realize is happening. It does not matter whether you are a prophet. It does not matter whether you, O prophet, pray for them to be forgiven or not. Meaning, you have the believers, people that love God, that want to stay within the assignment, and they're like praying for them, like, oh God, and God like, nah, they got to live through this. They got to go through what they got to go through to understand what's going on in their world. And they either going to get it and come to the believer side, or they going to stay over there and be satisfied and serve what's going on and the devil's agenda. And they don't, again, these are things that are happening behind the scenes, and we're just living it out in the physical. And we're not realizing sometimes that we're over there on that side. Even if you pray for them, O prophet, to be forgiven or not, even if you pray for their forgiveness 70 times, God will never forgive them. That is because they have lost faith in God and his messenger. And God does not guide the rebellious people. So I was watching a video, and the guy was he was speaking about when you lose your way and you get on that side and you're like, I'm gonna just do my own thing, because especially when you're within this assignment and the ball is rolling, you think you're doing good, and then you go over there on the other side and you like, I'm just gonna do my own thing. I'm tired of, let's say you like, I'm tired of doing all this stuff, or I'm tired of this, I'm tired of living righteously or whatever. And you be like, well, I'm over here, and it's like the guy was saying that the rebellious people lose their intuition, like meaning their guidance. So the system that you used to have, where you would get guidance and you would find your way and you were able to connect the dots, and you got the momentum going, you got the ball rolling, you're understanding, the assignment. But then you kind of veer off. It's like you stop getting that guidance, and then things start to take a wrong turn, a very rude wrong turn, and then you're like, God, but why? And he like, man, you went over there. It's like he's not understanding you, and you not understanding him. That's why you have to sit down and you got to regroup and get that understanding with him, and that's why things start to turn and go all over the place sometimes, when you be over there, but then you come back over here, and then you be like, you're causing chaos in your own life. I said, and God does not guide the rebellious people. Those hypocrites who, and I gotta say this too, ain't none of us perfect, right? And we all down here trying to figure this thing out. And we like, well, God has some mercy on me. Like, I don't even know. Like, I want to do right, but what in the world? Like, you over here like, please, like, I'm not trying to be rebellious. You're rebellious. But he's like, man, you know better. Some things you know better. And you like, I know, and you just got to confess that. And you have to be honest and say, I really you have to face it. Face it. And face it with a pure heart. Those hypocrites who remained behind rejoiced for doing so in defiance. So sometimes hypocrites will mock and rejoice and be glad in their rebellion sometimes, sad. So in defiance of the messenger of God and hated the prospect of striving with their wealth and their lives in the cause of God, they said to one another, do not march forth in the heat. Say, O prophet, the fire of hell is far hotter. If only they could comprehend. So let them laugh a little. They will weep much as a reward. They will weep much as a reward for what they have committed. If God returns you, O prophet, to a group of them, and they ask to go forth with you, say you will not ever go forth or fight an enemy along with me. You preferred to stay behind the first time, so stay with those helpless to remain behind. And do not ever offer funeral prayers for any of their dead, nor stand by their grave at burial, for they have lost faith in God and his messenger. So they're saying like don't console them. Like, that's how I was trying to tell a friend of mine. Like, sometimes we intervene in people's karmas or their things that they're supposed, like they brought these things on themselves, and we feel sorry for them. We're like, no, why is this happening to them? And it's it's unfortunate, like it's happening, but God, like he kind of cutthroat. It's like the mama and the daddy. You know how when the kid get in trouble and then the daddy whoop them, and the mama be like, oh no, don't beat him like that, and then this daddy like, yeah, but they brought this on themselves, and they stand tall in that. Like, God stands firm. Like, we are easily swayed, What is it? We are easily swayed in a lot of things. So I guess that message, if you guys can correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, or you can give your opinion, but he's saying, no, you guys preferred to stay behind the first time. You guys preferred not to fight along with me, the enemies, like the enemies of the world. You translate it into your life, however your life is. So you're not fighting against the enemies. You're enabling it. And then so now I got to leave you there. Just like when I notice people in my life, they're going another way, I have to go the other way too. I mean, like, I can't go with them is what I'm saying, because my intuition is saying no. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to do that because you like, this my people, this is my family, or this is my love, or this is my husband, this is my daughter, this is my cousin, my mom, my dad. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you like, dang, I don't want to leave my mom, my dad. They want to stay behind. They don't want to fight the enemy. You know what I'm saying? They want to go along with it because it feels better to them, or whatever's the reasons, right? And so you're like, man, I don't want to go. You know what I'm saying? You like, oh, but let me pray for them. Let me pray for their dead and stand by their grave with them. And God says, no, you do not do that. That is something that they brought on themselves. And it's sad. It hurts. That's what he's saying. I don't know. This is what the book's saying. This is the book of Quran. So, and I again, I'm with all messages. I don't care what the religion is. If the message resonates with me and it's good and it helps me to connect a dot in my own life or click something, I'm with it. I'm with it. So so they have lost their faith in God and his messenger, which will be you. You're the messenger, or the vessel, or the prophet or whatever you want to call yourself, right? So God's children impress you, O prophet. That's who you should be impressed by. God's children impress you, O prophet. God only intends to torment them through these things in the world. And then their souls will depart while they're okay, so their souls will depart while they are disbelievers. That's crazy. But basically what I got from the message, the overall message is stay on your path. Line up with the assignment so you can not only be guided, so things can be a lot easier and you can find abundance there. Things are not, you're not in lack over there, and you don't want to be in lack. Even though mentally sometimes we don't appreciate things because we're like, oh, but your version of being abundant is not his version. So sometimes you will be ungrateful, and you have to check yourself and realize that I am actually abundant and I am actually well taken care of, and I'm doing well in life. Like, things are not as bad as how we make them seem. And a lot of it comes from the struggle of knowing which side you're on and being able to line up with it. And it's very challenging for some of us, especially when you've been living a certain way for so long and you've been around nothing but non-believers, or you've been around people, places, and things that are not in alignment with your assignment. So it's easy for you to be like, what? But then when you really look back, were you in abundant? Like, were you abundant when you were on the wrong path? Wasn't things always happening? Things always going wrong? Wasn't you always in some kind of grief or unhappy when you chose to do it your way? Like, if you just sit there and be honest with yourself, then you'll be able to see the difference in the paths. And then you'll start to be able to stick to the path and go on the path and get everything, lined up so you can live that life that is meant for you. Anyway, I just wanted to share. It's your girl, G's Louise. And until next time, I wish you all peace, health, wealth, and the time to enjoy them all.